Once upon a time, there was a play written by Shakespeare called Julius Caesar. This play is about loyalty, betrayal, manipulation, and superstition. There are lots of minor characters in the play, but only 4 main. Despite being named after him, Caesar is only in the play for a very short period of time. However, since the whole plot revolves around him, he is one of the main characters. The others are Antonio, Caesar's loyal follower and the one who brings about order at the end of the play, Brutus, Caesar's friend and the tragic figure of the play, and Cassius, Brutus's kinsman and the character who represents vice. At the beginning of the play, Caesar is cheered on by the masses to become what equivalates to a king. While Caesar refuses the title, his behavior makes it seem like he secretly wants to rule. Cassius doesn't like Caesar much, and after observing his behavior, he approaches Brutus about Caesar's secret, ambitious desires. Brutus listens because he cares about Rome's future. Brutus can tell that there is no evidence to back up the claims about Caesar, and really cannot justify acting against his friend. However, on a stormy night, he lets Cassius and other conspirators convince him all on the basis of what might or may happen. To prevent an improbable disaster, Brutus decides to act. While the conspirators are planning to kill Caesar at the Senate meeting, Caesar has a chance to foil them. He receives multiple warnings from a soothsayer, his wife, and others. However, he fears looking weak in front of the public for being swayed by superstitious omens, and decides to go to the meeting anyway. At the Senate meeting, Caesar is cornered by the conspirators. Cassius stabs Caesar in the back first, and is followed by the rest of them. Brutus is the last to stab Caesar. Upon seeing his friend, Caesar cries out in Latin, "It is you, Brutus!" Antonio sees what they have done and is upset, but he fears for his life. He pretends to be okay with what they've done and gets Brutus to agree to let him speak at Caesar's funeral, because he has a secret plan. Brutus speaks first, telling the public what has happened to Caesar and why. Basically, that it was to protect them and Rome. However, Brutus is not good at public speaking and comes off as cold and distant. After Brutus leaves, Antonio gets up and addresses the people. He is warm and on their level. He reminds them of who Caesar was and what he did for them. He finally convinces the public that Brutus and the conspirators were wrong. Brutus and Cassius are then forced to flee the city. Brutus and the conspirators manage to come up with an army to fight Antonio. However, they have some financial problems, and Brutus confronts Cassius about it. The two get into a major fight that almost splits the force, but Cassius finally figures out that Brutus isn't really mad. He's just grieving because he found out his wife committed suicide. After the two make up, they go to meet Antonio's forces. For a while, Brutus and Cassius are actually winning the battle. But then Cassius misinterprets something he sees and kills himself in despair. After hearing about Cassius's death and the resulting capture of his men, Brutus decides he's better off dying by his own sword too. When Antonio finds him dead, he declares the battle won and commends Brutus for being a true Roman at heart, always looking out for the welfare of Rome.